Thank you everyone for waiting. Sorry about the little technical issue. We're back live and I'll be speaking with Obenewaa Okudzeto. So we'll classify that as a short break. She is an electrical engineer and the managing director of Built Services Consult Ghana. She also happens to be a female Harley Davidson rider, which is a motorbike company. She's also my cousin, so we'll just wait for Ya to come back on live and we'll continue right where we left off.
Hey,
Thank
Chantelle.
you very much for your patience. Sorry for the small technical
That's okay.
delay, but nonetheless, we were speaking about the Michelin star in America and how there's very few women in it, and you were describing how this is disappointing, obviously, to the industry.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you asked a question about describing my
Yes,
role as.
describing your role as an electrical engineer
So we'll take it from there, right?
from there, precisely.
Okay. So I was saying that there's several aspects of electrical engineering. I happen to work in the building services industry. And you were saying that there's some young people that are on your channel who may want to know what they could do if they were electrical engineers. So there's so many opportunities available as an electrical engineer. You could work in the biomedical sector in terms of working closely with instrumentation and stuff like that. You could work in the road transport system in terms of the electronics and the all the things that come with the transport sector as well. You could work in the electronic sector. You could work for companies that actually manufacture chips and all that stuff, creating algorithms and all the uh, VLSI stuff for the engineering aspects of it. Now, you could also work in my industry, which is the building services industry. What I do as an electrical engineer is I do design and supervision for construction. I work mostly for industrial, commercial, and some residential projects. And when we talk of industrial and commercial projects, we're looking at factories, we're looking at warehouses, we're looking at plants and equipment. And then for commercial, we're looking at the offices, we're looking at the multi-story facilities, multi-purpose buildings, churches. Also, another aspect that we look at, I do a lot of schools as well, and then you could do residential. Now, what
Okay.
do we really do when it comes to design is we're focused on putting together the lighting concepts, the lighting design, the power distribution system, the fire detection system, all the electronic stuff that goes in there. So your access control, your security surveillance system, building management system where you are automating buildings and whatnot. We also look at green and sustainable buildings, so solar, renewable energy, making sure that buildings are power efficient. Our role is to make sure that clients are getting value for money when they're putting their buildings together. So we are clients representatives in making sure that if you're putting up a building, that you have done a proper design that would match the energy efficiency of the building. So that's
That's
my.
fantastic. So, to all who don't know or are unaware of what electrical engineering is, you heard it here yourself. Ya has given a brief explanation of exactly the options that can be seen in the industry. So, we were speaking about a lack of females in many industries globally. Do you think, for instance, our community, being the African community, is more receptive to males entering female spaces than females entering male spaces? And I'll give you an example. So, for instance, in Ghana, we're seeing a lot of males enter the beauty space, for instance, which was predominantly known to be for women. So, makeup, hairstyling, and they do an amazing job, you know? So, what do you think on that? Where do women stand in all of this?
So I think it's a dual situation. There are people who judge these men as well. If you hear the stories that when they find out that a guy works in a beauty store or he's into makeup artistry and whatnot, then immediately they're judged a certain way. So
Mm,
in terms of biases, there it's everywhere. Unfortunately, the women get the hardest of this because we've been conditioned to think and we've been conditioned to feel that women must toe a certain line. So we don't give women the room to be multidimensional, in the sense that when we think of women, a woman is supposed to be a lady and that's that. So if a woman, for instance, I ride a bike, if you're riding a bike and you're still in your power suit the next day, and it confuses people. How do
People.
you marry the two? Because we're conditioned to feel that a woman who is supposed to be posh and ladylike should not be able to ride a bike. And it's just how we've been conditioned. We cut men a lot more slack when it comes to being multidimensional than we do with women. And that's where the problem is.
I
And it's not
agree.
a men problem, it's a human problem. Even us women struggle with that. And so when you think of women who are undergoing things like self-branding, they feel that in terms of branding themselves, they must toe a certain line and be known to be one thing and one thing only. And that's where the danger is. The danger is the fact that we do not allow women to express themselves in several ways. But we think it's okay when men do that. But when you're a woman, you should be one thing and one thing only. And that's a human issue we have, especially in our society. I don't know if it makes
Yeah.
sense.
It makes perfect sense. And I totally agree with you. We do cut men a lot more slack than we do
Mm-hmm.
women. It's unfortunate. And, you know, we hope for change. We hope that the generation coming up will be a bit more kinder and fairer, you know,
Yeah.
to the dreams and aspirations of females. So having said that, what can we do to encourage young girls and young women to want to enter industries that are quote unquote male dominated, out of the
Mm-hmm.
norm, and thinking outside of the box? Because as you said earlier, a lot of women are scared to
Mm-hmm.
enter such industries. How can we make it attractive?
I think a lot of us are critical of ourselves, one. And so we need to be less critical of ourselves and we need to be expressive of who we are. As women, we shouldn't feel tied down to be one thing. I know I sound like a
Yes.
broken record, but a lot of us are very self-critical and we're worried about what people would think and how, especially when it comes to how we behave. So it's important that as women, we're not as critical on ourselves as, we're made to believe we should be. And then two, I think it's a socialization problem. We need to socialize our men and we need to socialize our women to do better and be better. So our young boys and young girls that are coming up. Yesterday, Kwame sent me a picture of his jollof he just made. And my
Oh,
first reaction
wow.
was, he's a 13-year-old boy who's made jollof. And I asked the house and they said the jollof was amazing. So I said to him, like, Kwame, do not let this dream slide because he loves to cook. And it's important that we do not let them think, oh, but Kwame, you shouldn't be cooking. You should rather be playing games. It's how
Yes.
we talk to kids and how we talk to young people when they're growing up and the kind of biases that we implant in young heads. That's how it's going to affect all of us. So it's a socialization issue. It may not happen all at once in our lifetime, but we need to be intentional. We need to be very particular about how we socialize each other. And again, when I speak about these issues, I always talk about the fact that even as women, you find that there's an us and them sort of relationship where the successful or the traditionally progressive women look at other aspects or women who are going a certain direction and we do not recognize them as part of our circles. So we must be
Very
very
true.
inclusive. The moment we exclude certain people, we create room for judgments. We create room for other people to look into that window and say, well, it's them and, they're two different, there's a dichotomy. So it's important that we're very intentional in how we bring people in as well. And that's going to take some time, but we need to do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is Obenewaa Okudzeto. She is an electrical engineer and the managing director of Built Consult Services. She also happens to be a female Harley Davidson motorbike rider and my cousin. And we're talking about all wonderful things to do with the continent of Africa and female empowerment. So, yeah, to round up, what do you think the future looks like, or what does the future hold for the possibility of more women gaining entry or having the confidence to step into male dominated fields and careers?
So I think the opportunities have been laid before us. The things that were holding us back before are no longer as prevailing as they are. Absolutely, there are issues that need to still be tackled, but we no longer have certain barriers that initially were holding us back. So my feeling is that the prospects of more women growing and securing positions in leadership and whatnot is going to be we're going in a direction that for me is promising. We're all very hopeful about the future of non-traditional roles of women. And we need to do this not because we want to be statistically noted. We don't want to do this just because we want to be heard and said to be the first female XYZ, or I was the woman who did this. But we're doing this because there's a need for all of us to actually create these rooms for women to operate in, because we do have a part to play in the system. So
Yes.
we shouldn't be very selfish about the progress that we make as women. We should look at it not just for our own personal accolades, but to look at it as a broader room for everyone to also come in and help with progress. I look at politics, I look at leadership. Again, we have so many women who should be able to go into mainstream politics, but are holding back because they are doing calculated things and it doesn't align with the political landscape of our system right now. Now, I'm just praying and hoping that those things that affect us as women to go into politics may change, and we would all then decide that it's important for us to rise in that direction. So kudos to all of us who are doing fantastic in our roles. Kudos to all of us who are still learning, because I continuously learn. And those who are under the tutelage of other women and other men who are helping us rise. And let's keep doing this. And let's do this for the fulfillment of a grand purpose and not for a personal fulfillment.
Beautifully said. Really, really beautiful words. I know I'm inspired, so I hope all of you are inspired. And if there are any ladies in here, I'm sure you are more than inspired by what Ya has shared with us this evening. Ya, do you have any final words for the viewers?
I think one of the things that I always say when I go on these shows is that it's important, and I've said it already, it's very important that we take time to assess ourselves as individuals and not let the biases of our society form judgments on us. So if you're a woman out there and you have passion for things outside your domain, explore it. Explore those things and grow in those things. You're more than one thing. Women, it's important that we tell each other and we tell ourselves that you're more than one thing. You shouldn't just want to be known as Chantelle, who came to live just to be a lady and a lady only. You should be
I agree.
Chantelle, who came to change the world by doing several things. So
Yes.
let's be more than one thing. As a woman, you have the ability to do several things and explore all those options, as long as they are for the greater fulfillment of your purpose. So you need to have a purpose. And if that purpose aligns with all the things that you love to do, do it and not feel judged by society.
Beautiful. It's such an honor to be related to you. I absolutely adore everything you have to say. I learned so much from you. And I really, really hope that people who viewed this evening feel the same way. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ya Obenewaa Okudzeto, who is an electrical engineer and the managing director of Built Services Consult. She also happens to
So I
be a
think when I
female
say
Harley
that
Davidson
we're
rider.
related,
Yeah, we're
When I say we're
related. We're
related,
cousins.
when I say related, people probably think we're just Ghana cousins, but we
We're
are. So
cousins. We're
my
sisters,
mom and
actually.
Chantelle's dad are siblings, and so we are sisters.
Precisely,
And
precisely.
I
It was
and I
so
love
lovely
and I
having
love this
you.
girl so much.
Oh, I love you too. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. It was so wonderful. Thank you to all of our viewers for listening. And that is the end, ladies and gentlemen, of our lockdown series. Basically, it was a weekly interview with someone inspirational every week, such as Ya. And now that the world has opened up, we go back to pre recorded episodes and TCS Bites, which are short spurts of everything happening in the world, which you can catch on my page. You can follow me on Instagram. And if you check my bio, you can see the link to my YouTube, which you can subscribe to. Yeah, thank you so, so much for joining me today on the Chantelle Show. I'm truly inspired. Thank you. Thank you.
And good luck, Chantelle, with everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.